Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to KETIV Virtual Academy. We're so glad you could join us, and we hope your day is going great. I'm DJ Munzik, Head of Marketing here at KETIV, and we've got another great session for you today. We are joined live by Marco Trinidad from the KETIV support team. He's going to be walking us through the latest enhancements to design, assemblies, modeling, and more as part of the latest release of Autodesk Fusion. He's even going to show us some of the cool AI functionality that's come out. Since we are live today, we do welcome questions. Please use the Q&A panel in Zoom, drop them in there, or if you're joining, you can use the live chat function, and we'll try to get those questions answered as we go through the session. Before we get started, though, I did want to share some of the upcoming content that we've got for everyone. First off, next week, we're continuing our series, Autodesk Inventor Automation Academy. And this is our second session where we're going to cover the creation of basic geometry in Inventor. So please grab that QR code, take note. If you're signed up for KVA, you're going to get this sent to you anyway. But yeah, share it with other people who are interested in learning design automation techniques in Inventor. And then I want to talk about the following week. We have another session coming up. We're lucky to be rejoined by Marco again. And we're bringing Jim Byrne from Autodesk with us into a session where we're going to talk about what's new in Inventor 2027, again, including some of the new AI functionality and some of the other great features that are part of that release. Not to keep dumping on you, but I have a few more sessions we want to talk about. We really are diving into this AI talk track because it's real and it's here, as evidenced by our session on June 25th. We're going to be talking to manufacturing and engineering leaders, so this isn't really a KVA session, but just an open webinar. So please feel free to grab your leaders, your engineering leaders, your company leaders, because we're going to talk about the AI shift in engineering that's already arrived. Yeah, so bring them along. We're going to have a session also the following week that is more for our engineering workforce, more of the KVA audience. And there we're diving a little more deep into the products, right? So on July 2nd, we're joined with Jeff and Brian from our customer success team, and they're going to walk us through the new Autodesk Assistant AI being rolled across multiple products. So I know you're going to hear about this in pieces as we talk about what's new, but we want to have a session where we could really talk about all the great things going on with Autodesk Assistant and AI that have come out in the past couple months. So, all right, I appreciate your patience while we rolled through that. If you guys want to see any of these links to those sessions, just drop them in chat and I'll make sure and get those sent off to you. All right, so back to the topic at hand. We want to jump in now with Marco, and he's going to get us started on covering the latest Fusion enhancements. And just a reminder, we do have Q&A open, so drop those questions in the panel. We'll get them answered as we go or at the end. All right, Marco, off to you. Let me know if you need anything.
All right. Thank you, DJ. So a little bit about what we're covering today. I am going to cover some of the previous releases. As most of you are aware, Fusion does release updates pretty regularly. So I'll cover some of the more recent what's new and some of the ones that were released in the latest April release. And I will have a Q&A at the end if you guys do have any questions. And a little bit about me. My name is Marco Trinidad. I'm an application engineer here at KETIV. I've been doing support, training, mostly around Fusion and Inventor. Okay, so just jumping right in. This is actually one of the ones that came up on one of the previous recent releases of Fusion, and that is custom BOM properties that you can now add in as an admin. So I'll go ahead and bring up my Fusion here. So right here, I have this assembly that I've created. And inside of my bill of materials, there are standard properties that you can include. But now you have the ability to add in custom bill of material properties and also be able to manage and edit them outside of the assembly. So let me go ahead and in my data panel, I'm going to open up this espresso machine on the web. Okay, so over here on my web page, I can see my espresso machine, and inside of my bill of materials here, I'm just going to pull out the standard bill of materials. Okay, so I could see my standard bill of materials. You could see all of the properties filled in for all of my components and my subcomponents for my assembly here. I now have the ability to add in custom properties. So right here at the top, we can see all of our standard properties included on this list. But now as an admin, I can go into my web browser and change and add in custom properties. So to do that, I'll go up here at the top under my user. I do need to be an admin in order to add in a custom property. I'll go ahead and go to admin. And then on this last tab, there is a custom properties page. As you can see, I don't have any custom ones yet, so I'll go ahead and create property. I'm going to name this one packaging. Give it a description. I don't need a description in this case, and select what field type I want this. So I do want this to be a text field. I'll go ahead and select that. Create my property. And it'll be added to my list. Okay, so now that I have it added onto my list, I'm going to go back to my project. Go in here. Go to my bill of materials. And now under here, I can see there is now a custom property for packaging. So I can add that in. And you can see over here on the right. So now I can fill this in, packaging needed. Yes, I do need packaging for this one. And I can fill out my custom properties in here. And then likewise, you can go back into your assembly, and let's pull up my bill of materials in here. It's going to take a moment to fill out. And the same way that I had it filled out in the web browser, I can also add in and remove properties using the little gear icon here at the top. So let me scroll all the way to the right. And then in here, I should see my packaging. Pretty. And give it one moment and it should fill out over here all the way to the right. So yes, now you have the ability to add in custom properties to your build material and also edit and modify them using the web browser. And as you can see, it gets populated and updated back and forth. So now you no longer need the full client to make those changes. Okay. Another recent addition to Fusion was the tangent constraint. So this is a new one added in here inside of our constraints panel. All the way at the end, there is a tangent constraint. And I'll go ahead and walk through that one here really quick. Okay, so I have this little saucer here, and this is just a sample to walk through where that constraint is. Let's go to the assemble tab, and there's a constraint. And now you can see there's the last one. There's now a tangent, and this works both for edges or faces. So I can add in my tangent between those two faces, or I can select two edges and select my offset. And so now since this one isn't fully constrained, I'm going to switch this top view. You can see that these remain tangent to each other. Okay. Another recent addition was the hem tool that was added, I think back in January. So for sheet metal, I'm going to switch it back to Fusion here. You now have the ability to add a hem. It's in its own separate tool. And yeah, you have these drop downs inside of your panel for the type of hem and measurements. So I'll go ahead and open up my sheet metal here. And so I'm going to drop this down under my sheet metal. And I'm going to go to flange. And then over here, type of flange, I'm going to switch that over to hem. So I'm just going to add one over on this edge. You can see I get a preview right away. And now I can select the type of hem. There are quite a few options. So I have flat, open, rolled, teardrop, rope, or double. And you can see as I select each one, I have different parameters in here. They automatically do get filled in by our sheet metal properties. You can see I have my thickness in here, and the other properties in here are already filled out. And I can select my position as well and create that hem. All right. So those were some of the more recent updates. So I think those are from January and forward up until our April update. Okay, so now jumping into our April update, one of the biggest changes that we've seen is going to be the addition of the Autodesk Assistant. So you can see here on this preview, I use the Autodesk Assistant to create a keycap for me. So using the Autodesk Assistant, I was able to write and execute a script using the Fusion API. You can see here on my first one, I did have a very loose prompt for the assistant to create. And you can see I got a shape that wasn't quite correct for a keycap. But using a bit of additional prompts and more detail, I was able to get this keycap over here on the right. And since if I were to create a full keyboard, I would need to make 8 or 9 different variations of keycap. Creating a script is going to be very helpful because I don't have to go in and start from scratch each time. So I'll go ahead and bring up my Fusion here. And I'm just going to start with a blank part just to show you guys the script that I created. So up here at the very top right, you have the Autodesk Assistant. I'm going to bring that up. Okay, now there are some limitations to what it can do. This tech preview right here at the top right, that is access to future, it's essentially access to pre-releases. So some of the additional capabilities of the Autodesk Assistant, you can either choose to turn that on or off. I actually had it turned off when I created this, but I did toggle it on after. You have the chat history over here, one tab over from the little from the settings, so you can go back and see some of your previous prompts that you've created. And then in here, it does, when you create a new chat every time, it does prompt up these previews, so you can see some of the capabilities that within the design assistant. Now, just as a heads up, it does help to be more descriptive. I think when I was creating the first initial keycap, you could see here I was very vague in my description of what I wanted it to do and how I wanted it to go about creating the keycap. Once I dialed it in and gave it a few more parameters and prompts, I was able to get the shape a little bit more correctly. And once again, I wanted it to start from scratch. So I wanted a script where I didn't have to create any input. I just wanted it to start and open up and run that script and create a starting point for my keycap. Okay, so let me just go into chat history really quick, and I'm going to make a keycap or I'm going to bring up my keycap chat history. So you could see it is quite a long chat history. I had quite a few different attempts, a lot of errors that I had pop up. I'm not going to go through each one of these. A lot of these were reiteration because when I ran the script, I got maybe a few errors here and there that I needed it to fix. And with the help of the assistant, I was able to bring up those errors, let it know that I was running into these, and then it was able to give me a new script resolving some of those issues that I had run into. Okay, and then after a few different iterations of the design assistant, I was able to create a script. So go ahead and bring up that script or keycap, and I can just play this script. It'll bring up a dialog box where I can give it the different values. Maybe this one's going to be a little bit longer. Maybe there's a space bar, and I can fill out these parameters, and it'll give me my keycap. Now, I'm not a programmer, so I can't go in and fix it myself as much as I would like to. So it is very helpful to have this design assistant, both to create it and to troubleshoot some of the issues that ended up popping up. And now from here, I have a very good starting point for making my keycaps. So I can take this and make adjustments and changes to it, maybe round out the front, or maybe change the sizing or add a decal as I did in my initial sample. I can go ahead and take it from this point, which is what I wanted. I didn't want to start from scratch each time I created a keycap. Okay, and like I said, once I finished up, I just went back to my chat history, make adjustments. I needed to make more changes throughout my iterations. I can bring them up in here as well. And this is just one addition that was added to the design assistant. There are various things that they're still bringing out as well. You can use it to help you with your configurations, with your design layout. It can guide you through some of those changes. If you're new to Fusion, it can guide you through where a lot of the clicks and tools are and how to go about creating your designs. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to my next one. In this recent release, they did add the ability to use construction geometry in your patterns. So that includes work planes, axes, and points. You can now use those when you're inside of the pattern tool. And inside of that, in your object, you have an object drop down. And let me bring that up here. Okay, so when I go into my pattern, here, inside of my pattern tool, now inside of bodies, let me close out the assistant. I have the option to drop that down and select construction geometry. So for example, this plane, if I wanted to create a plane at various different positions on here, I can now use the pattern tool to do that. I no longer have to individually go through and add in each plane at every point that I need it at. Okay, next one, and this one I don't have a sample to bring up, but inside of Mesh, there's now one touch fix. This allows you to repair meshes a lot quicker. So using a little bit of intelligence, it can pick up any open or any loops that need to be repaired on a mesh, and it can help you fix it with a single click. Okay, and then the last one that I have here is the corner closure, which was added to the sheet metal. So I can go in here and under the modify, there is now a corner closure. Oh, under sheet metal modify, there is now a corner closure. So for example, these two corners here, I want to fill in that gap. You can just select both those edges and it'll fill in those corners. I can select the relief shape as well. If I want to change out what type of release shape, I can go in here. And for this one, it doesn't allow me to preview this as well, but you can choose your type of width as well. Okay, so go ahead and click OK. And then it was able to create this corner on my sheet metal part. Okay, so those were all the recent changes that I pulled out of the recent releases for the April update and some of the ones that I had liked from some of the previous ones. Did anyone have any questions here?
Yeah, Marco, we did have a question coming from Yilmer asking how he can put custom properties into title blocks inside of his drawings.
Yeah, let me see in here. See if I can bring up a drawing for this one really quick. And I think it in a title block, this might be one I might have to get back to you on. So I don't think I have a custom title block on my Fusion at the moment, but let me just quickly try.
While you're trying to get that to work, if there's any other questions, feel free to drop them in now, and we'll see if Marco can help on yours.
See here.
So is this you attempting to add that custom attribute right now, Marco?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
See if that might be one I have to get back to you on because I don't think it'll pick it up as one of the out of the box ones. So um yeah, I'll have to check on that one. It might be something that we might not be able to add into the title block just yet. Yeah, that's a good question. I'll have to get back on that one. I'm not sure if they have that added in as a something you can bring into the title block.
Cool. Thanks, Marco, for trying on the fly like that. We appreciate you tap dancing right in front of us. And yeah, if you can get back to me, I'll relay that message on. And if we can do it, maybe we'll get a little blog spun up or something
Yeah.
and share that. So, all right. I don't have any other questions coming in. So unless you have anything else to add, Marco, I'm gonna let you get back to serving our customers. Uh, oh, we did have a follow-up from Yilmer. Let me just quickly read this. Can I create a custom property like, I'm not exactly sure the question. It says, can I create a custom property like for sample wide and make table put in my drawings for different configurations? I'm not sure I fully understand the question.
Let's see. I'm not sure if I quite understand as well, but I do know they added in configuration tables as well into Fusion not too long ago. So I'm wondering if that might be what you're referring to.
Okay. Yilmer, you can always email us. Just hit me at marketing@ketiv.com and we're going to restate that question. And we'll try to get an answer offline. But other than that, I think that's all we had for questions today. So Marco, thanks a ton for walking us through the new enhancements in Fusion. We're excited to see this product continue to be enhanced. We love seeing it, you know, being released on point releases, not just waiting for annual releases, which is a big benefit. So
Yeah.
um, continue to keep your ear to the ground. Marco and the rest of our team will continue to update you guys on what's new. And yeah, thanks everyone for joining KETIV Virtual Academy. We'll see you next week. And yeah, stay tuned. We're always putting out more content, and we'll see you guys soon. Take
All
care.
right. Thanks, everyone.
Marco.